Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell now calling on Democratic senators to share their ideas about passing a health care bill. This after a skinny repeal failed in the Senate early Friday morning. 3 Republican senators and all the Democrats voted no. Joining me now to discuss this is Siegfried. He is the author of GOP GPS and is a Republican strategist. Atima O'Mara is also here. She is a Democratic strategist and a former president of Young Democrats of America. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Good. Evan, I start with you. Is repeal and replacing Obamacare with Trump care dead, or will it get back on a bipartisan agenda soon?
Well, as they say, what is dead may never die. And I think it could come back after October when we see the Obamacare rates released for 2018. They're going to be double-digit and probably in some cases triple-digit increases on the American people. Unfortunately, Congress is going to have about a 2 to 3 month window in which to actually get anything done, be it solo as Republicans or with Democratic help, which was sorely lacking the last time around.
Well, you heard the majority leader asking for the Democratic senators' help now. Do you think that he will get it? And do you think that they can get something done in this short window that you just pointed out?
I think there is hope. And I think that it's now time for Democrats to show up and prove that Republicans aren't always right and Democrats aren't always wrong. I'm sure they have an idea or two that many Republicans could come and latch on to that could help stabilize the insurance markets and provide lower cost in coverage and higher quality health care.
Tima, let me get you in here now. Following the political bickering, the protocol tinkering surrounding health care, moving forward, can Congress successfully tackle tax reform? How should they change their approach in order to come up with new tax laws?
Well, I mean, I think right now they have to actually figure out what they're going to do. I know that the Republicans were specifically betting on the ACA repealing many of the taxes that they wanted to get rid of. And so, Trump has got to actually be, I think, very much involved on this. He was elected because, people loved his economic populist ideas. And one of them was making sure that there was a border adjustment tax, making sure rewarding those companies who actually make stuff in the U.S. And right now there's discussion about dropping that, and some massive cuts to Medicare and Social Security, something that a lot of Trump voters who voted for him actually favor those programs. So it's got a lot to discuss.
I want to, meantime, put up a graphic of the so-called Big Six. We're talking about GOP leaders, including House Speaker Paul Ryan, Majority Leader Senator Mitch McConnell, who we just heard from, and Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary. On Thursday, the Big Six released a document containing principles of tax overhaul, in part saying that the top Republicans and the president are not going to tax imports, and exports will be exempt from taxes. And apart from those adjustments, the common goal is to reduce individual and corporate tax rates, quote, as much as possible, they say, but how much is not clear. So, Atima, I stick with you. Are the Republicans in agreement enough to successfully push through tax reform legislation, and where do the Democrats fit in?
Well, I think on tax, well, certainly for them, tax reform, tax cuts, however they want to phrase it, they're definitely going to be in disagreement again. You've got the House Freedom Caucus, who doesn't want to see, at least some of the leaders of, the border tax in part of their plans. Some of them want to see some corporate tax cuts. There's a lot of disagreement on actually what should be cut. Some want deeper cuts, some want less cuts.
So what about inside the Democratic Party?
I would say inside the Democratic Party, like for us, it's going to continue to be making sure that we're working to restore as many jobs to the economy as possible, and a tax reform package that actually takes into account not just a certain portion of society, but across the socioeconomic status. So, Republicans have got to certainly pick up the phone if there's any indication of what they did with the healthcare. But why can't the Democrats
just pick up the phone? Why do we have to keep waiting for one side or the other to pick up the phone? They're all working for the people together.
We had 3 times that they worked on getting the healthcare bill passed without Democrats. They had a task force that was hidden. If they actually worked to get things through committee this time, there could actually be some bipartisan conversations, which I think we can all agree would be better for America.
I want to get back to you, Evan, right now, because something that Atima touched on, we're talking about the president as the ultimate successful businessman in the Republican Party. Will tax reform, Evan, work without detailed guidelines from President Trump? And is what the president has presented so far a blueprint for success and sanctions by Congress?
First of all, Atima actually said that the president needs to get involved? Well, the president has been involved. He's met with over 200 members of Congress, 80 different trade associations to discuss what works and what doesn't work for the American people. Republicans have been putting together
but in
with
terms
President,
of
but with
on
President
paper,
Trump.
what should the president put on paper? Should he be more specific? I think so far we've seen a one-page report.
He
from
has
the,
talked about
from the
lowering the
president.
corporate tax rate. Those are good guidelines for people like Congressman Kevin Brady to work with members within the Republican caucus to figure things out. They did decide to drop the border adjustment tax because it's actually a $5 trillion tax on Americans and American businesses. And we have many different Republicans coming together and ensuring that we finally get tax reform so everybody can file
Evan,
their
right now
taxes
I'm
on a
talking
postcard.
specifically about the president because, you know, part of why the president is because he's a successful businessman. And I think many in the country are relying on the president's expertise in terms of tax reform and how to get it done. He says he knows how to work around taxes, so he's the best person to present a plan that will work for the country.
Yes, part of that plan is that the White House floated raising the marginal tax rate on people who make $5 million a year or more to 44% from 39.6%. The president is actually offering an olive branch to Democrats to come to the table and say they want to work there. Democrats haven't done anything. They want to be part of the resistance and sit there and protest.
No, I'm not talking about the Democrats not doing anything. I'm talking about the president. He's the president. He can pick up the phone and get anybody to come to his office and act right and listen to what he has to say. So I want to know, do you think, a team of closing, that the president can get those guys and girls, ladies and men in Congress to come together, listen to what he has to say as the ultimate businessman in the room, and come up with a tax plan that will work for the betterment of this country?
Well, he certainly did in the final days of the health care negotiations, brought certainly his party to the White House to discuss how to get it passed. I think it's going to work a lot better if he certainly calls the leaders from both sides of the aisle to really have the discussion about this, and maybe we can move in some of the right direction.
All right. Well, I think everybody is counting on all of the people in Congress, including the president, who is the executor in chief, to get some things done to make our tax plans work for most of us.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, I like
Yeah.
that. Evan, Siegfried, and Atima Omara, thanks to you both.